Charles County is nothing like DC. That's why in today's video, I want to talk about some key differences that I wish I knew before I moved here. So if you're thinking about moving to Charles County, make sure you watch to the end of the video. Today I want to give my honest review of the Waldorf in the Charles County area. All right, so let's talk about traffic. The truth is, no matter where you live around the Washington, DC area, if you have to go into work near or in Washington, DC, there's going to be traffic. There's just no way around it. That's pretty much what you're going to experience here in Charles County and Waldorf, Maryland. There's two main roadways, 301 and 210. So it's almost like pre-traffic. There's pre-traffic before the actual traffic. Now, there are alternatives. You can use park and rides at the local metro station, leave your car there, jump on the train. That way you don't have to go through pre-traffic and real traffic. Maybe you just go through the first phase of traffic and then park your car, get on the train, and just let the train do the rest. Second, I know a lot of people who utilize the charter bus system. You park your car at a local park and ride, and basically you're picked up by a charter bus that goes from the park and ride directly to downtown or wherever it is that you work. Mostly you'll see these charter buses go downtown. But as I said, if you're commuting to work, there's pretty much no way around it. That's just a part of living in the DMV area. Now, on the lighter side, if we talk locally, traffic locally actually is not that bad. Dealing with mostly 2 to 3 lane roads, average speed limit of like 40 miles per hour. Like, traffic moves pretty smoothly in the Waldorf and Charles County area. The lights are more spread out than you might be used to in the city, so it's not like a lot of stop and go traffic. In my opinion, it's a lot more manageable. Are there times when there's traffic? Of course, like I said, during rush hour and on weekends when everybody's out and about, shopping and hanging out and going to church and stuff like that. But for the most part, if you leave out any other part of the day, you have nothing to worry about. You could be out and back home in about 30 minutes. Here in the Waldorf area, they have what they call Van Go. It's nothing like Metro at all. It's literally like a small van, almost like a church bus. Long story short, you're gonna need a car if you live out here. This is not like a bike friendly area. It's not like an area that you can just kind of walk to things. You can walk from your house to the store like most people are used to in the city. You can basically walk a few blocks to the grocery store, walk a few blocks to the metro station to get where you have to go. This isn't one of those areas, so you're gonna need a car. So if you don't have a car, this may not be a good fit. All right, so you're on your way home. You just did all that driving coming from work. You sat in all that traffic on 210 and 301. And now it's time to get food. Charles County actually has a lot of really good eats, especially in the Waldorf area. This ranges from fast food to takeout to fine dining. Like, you can find everything in between. I think I have been in Waldorf for about a whole year before I actually started to explore the different restaurants. And I've always been a fan of like the Food Network and the Travel Channel, where they take the time to try different restaurants. So the last few years, I've actually been exploring the area, different restaurants, finding out what I like in the area. Some of my favorite restaurants are Chicken Rico, Dat Jerk, Mariachi's, Lefties, American Steakhouse and Sports Theater. A little further out, Cheddar's, Prime Street Grill. And that's just to name a few, but like, it's very diverse. So, pretty much whatever you have the taste for, what I recommend is do a quick like Google search. I use Google Maps to look up Italian in the area, Mexican in the area, Thai in the area, sushi in the area, or sushi near me. A lot of people do leave reviews. So you'll get honest reviews, and you actually get recent reviews. You won't get reviews that's like 2 years old. You'll get reviews that's like a few weeks old, because people actually do leave reviews. Make sure you give some of these places a try. All right, so let's talk about things to do. In my opinion, people aren't coming to Waldorf or Charles County to like do something, to find something to do. Like, that's not like a thing here. You know what I'm saying? Where people would travel they go out of their way to visit Washington, DC, or they go out of their way to visit parts of Virginia. I don't see Waldorf as one of those things, and I think that's a good thing. I think what makes Charles County unique in Southern Maryland in general is this Southern charm. There's a lot of outdoor things to do. You just get to just kind of just take it easy. You're just close enough, yet you're just far enough from the city. I'm not looking for city aspects in the Waldorf area. I've grown to love and appreciate this area for not being anything like the city. What's interesting about the shopping in Waldorf is it's more so the essentials than it is fancy brand name shopping. I know a lot of people mention St. Charles Mall, but for the most part, you're going to be making stops at Festival Way Shopping Center and Waldorf Marketplace. They're literally right across from each other. You'll find stores like Five Below, Ulta, TJ Maxx, Ross, Home Goods, Hobby Lobby, Bath and Body Works. Like I said, kind of the essential stores. Obviously, in that area too, you have Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart. You really can't go wrong. Just a few minutes from the house, you can get the things that you need. Most people are ordering from Amazon, so everything else that you don't find in the store, you could probably find a better price on Amazon anyway. You have your choice of gyms. You have smaller gyms. You have Planet Fitness. You have LA Fitness. You have a sports clubhouse not too far from Festival Way. There's a movie theater not too far from the mall. It's bowling, Chuck E. Cheese for the kids. There's a spot called Scary Strokes. It's like a mix between like an arcade, Dave and Buster's type indoor miniature golf. But if you're really looking for, like to have a good time, Waldorf in Charles County is not too far from the action. So just like about a 30-minute drive or less, you're in, Washington, D.C. or the National Harbor, so if you want to take your significant other out for a nice evening, or, you want to hang out with family during the day. There are a lot of events that happen in National Harbor on a regular basis. You have the circus, you have the dinosaur themed events, various different restaurants. Let's say you do have those evenings where you do want to do something, outside of the norm. It's not that far. But honestly, I think what the locals enjoy most here is simply just hanging out, just taking it easy. It's very laid back. That's really one of the main reasons why I enjoy living out here. Living in a city, it almost feels like there's always something going on, and that can be good at first. Like at first, you kind of like, every weekend I'm going to have a good time. It's great, whatever. But at least for me, as you get older, I notice it's like, I need a break. Once you've lived in DC long enough, you've kind of done most of the things where you retire from that lifestyle a lot sooner than a lot of people do who don't experience that on a regular basis. So I would consider myself retired. All right, so let's talk about some of the boring stuff like housing. Now, I did a quick Google search just to find out some of the averages in the area. So this is interesting. The average rent for a 3-bedroom in Waldorf is $2,500. Now compare that to the average rent for a 1-bedroom in DC right now is about $2,300. Now that's the average. Now, obviously it could be higher and lower in some places, but for an average, you get 2 more bedrooms and likely more space for a 3-bedroom in Waldorf by only paying $200 more a month. That's just the renting side. Now, let's say you're looking to purchase a home, or you already own a home, you're looking to move, whatever case may be. The average home price in Washington D.C. is $645,000. All right. The average home price in Waldorf is $403,000. Now again, obviously those are just averages, but come on, like numbers don't lie, right? Like that's ridiculous. The average commute time is basically 15 minutes longer for someone who lives in the Waldorf area. And I mention that because, some people will talk about traffic and how far you go and all that stuff. People are moving here because it's worth it. I would rather drive 15 minutes longer to where I have to go and pay thousands less in housing costs. Like if that's what I have to do, like that, it pretty much sells itself. And the prices actually get more and more favorable the further you get. And I know that sounds crazy to like be so far, from the city and live more so in the rural areas, but these areas aren't as rural as rural areas, I would say. Even now, we even live a little bit further than La Plata, but you would think that as someone, like I said, who lived in DC their whole life, when I first moved to Fort Washington, it seemed too far, and then I've kind of been like edging further and further away, and realizing like it's not that bad. Let's talk about schools. I'm not a parent yet, so I'm not like an expert on this topic, but I have noticed that you have access to a great number of private and public schools. But what's different about here in this area, at least for me, is that these public schools look amazing. And I know looks aren't everything, but I mean, what I'm used to with public schools, even public charter schools, like these schools blow them out the water. Like the public schools out here look like private schools to inner city standards. Of course, there's a lot to consider when choosing the right school. So I would recommend you check out a website called Niche. They basically allow you to compare anywhere between pre-K and college when it comes to schools. Show you schools in the area. You can search it by city. I think you can search by county as well. You can search by state, and it'll compare it by those standards, by U.S. standards, by the state standards and local standards to one another. So make sure you guys check that website out. All right, let's talk final thoughts. I absolutely love Waldorf. I love Charles County. It's funny because when I was a DC resident, I would always bag on Maryland people and, silly and the flag, and, they always putting the flag on the back of their cars. It all seems silly to me, but I can definitely see why. Living out here has been like a breath of fresh air, Imagine that being your reality every day, where you get to kind of escape reality in a sense each day. I almost feel bad for people who like live in DC and work in DC, or live in the inner cities and work in inner cities. Like, unless it's what you like. But for me, I needed peace of mind. It's too much going on all the time. Crime rising it's just a lot going on. It's always something going on in the city, whether that be with politics or whether that be, some type of festival event, road closures. It just became such a headache and inconvenience on a regular basis. It's like, I don't see how people could live in DC too long without like losing it. Waldorf is beautiful. Charles County is beautiful. I love the outdoors more than I ever have. I've explored the outdoors more than I ever have. I've gone fishing more than I ever have. My first time going fishing was, I think, my second year living in Charles County. I had never gone fishing before that. And I know people go fishing in DC all the time, but it's not really like as much of a thing as it is here. It's like truly a pastime, and it's so peaceful. On those days, on those weekends where I do want to go out with the wife and hang out in the DC area, or I want to go out in Alexandria or Arlington and go out for dinner, we can't. The thing is, you can go there, enjoy it, and leave it behind and come back to, just peace. I also think it's a great place to raise children. One of the most obvious reasons being that your kids actually get to go outside. I know that sounds terrible, but honestly, like, that's an issue now. Let's just be real. I remember growing up, being able to ride my bike up and down the street, and that's not really a lot of children's reality nowadays. They truly are safer in home on their tablets, but who wants that for their kid? Charles County is one of those areas where your children can easily grow up with friends. They can easily grow up from preschool to college with, some of their classmates, some of their neighbors. It's very refreshing and beautiful to think about. So what are your thoughts? Could you see yourself living here? Let me know in the comments below. As much as I enjoy making videos like this, what I enjoy most is helping my clients find their dream home when moving to Maryland. So if you're thinking about moving to Maryland, leave a comment below or reach out to me on social media, because when it comes to moving to Maryland, I've got your back.